Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to replace the distributor in this Foxbody Mustang. Follow along and I'll show you the right way to do it. So after all the diagnostics, it appears that the problem has to be in the distributor. Now it could be a TFI module, it could be the HAL pickup, it could be bearings that are causing the shaft to wobble and lose the signal going to the PCM. It could be a bunch of things. So in that case, the easiest thing to do, and probably the least costly thing to do, is just replace the whole distributor. I know some of you are probably in the comments going, "Oh, Matthew, I think it's a TFI module. You should just replace that." Well, okay, I could have done that. It is some work. By the time it's all done, and then you find out that it wasn't the TFI module, or that wasn't the only problem, now you'll wish you'd started out by just replacing the whole distributor. And by the way, this new distributor comes with a cap and a rotor too, which are also problems on this car. So it helps out a little bit with those tune-up parts too. A lot of you ask, what distributor would you replace it with? This car has a Motorcraft distributor. Usually they're, the best, but at 35 years old, everything can wear out. So I have found that the car-done distributors are probably about as good as it gets for a service replacement. My parts supplier has one in their championship autocross car, had it in there for years. It's all good, never a problem. So in a world where there's a lot of terrible ignition replacement parts for these cars, this is probably about the best bet. So we're gonna go ahead and pull this old distributor out, hope that the retainer ring is on the oil pump drive shaft, and put the new one in, get it retimed, and then we'll see if it free revs okay. Hopefully that's our whole remaining problem. There's a couple of steps when you're replacing a distributor that you'd be well advised to take. And I know some of you are going to say, "Oh, Matthew, this is overkill. You can just pull it out and slap it in." Here's what I think you should do. Get the car on top dead center, number one. That way the rotor is in a position that's easy to identify. And in addition to that, just the way the crank throws line up when you're at top dead center, number one, if you have the misfortune of pulling the oil pump drive shaft out, that crank throw can help keep it in place instead of just falling in the pan, and you might get a second chance with it. So that's a good first step. When we go to put the distributor back in, we want to lube up the gear a little bit. If everything was new, we would try to put a distributor assembly lube on there. Since this is a run engine with a run-in cam and all that, we're just going to put 50 weight engine oil on the end of it, and that should be good enough for our startup. I'm going to start by disconnecting all the electrical. So I've got the battery disconnected. We're going to disconnect this TFI module. And by the way, this is one of these push style connectors. So you actually push in on it and pull out. You don't lift up on these tabs. You can see it says push. That's the way it works. You push down and then pull it out. Okay. Let's pull that out of the way. And then we've got a whole new cap, so we need to disconnect all the wires. We're going to pull them off. We're not going to worry about labeling them. We'll have to recheck our firing order when we put them back on. We'll get those back out of the way. Now this is a non-AC car, so you have a little more room to work in here. But you can see it's a dirty mess down in there. So the first thing we want to try and do is clean that up a little bit. I used a vacuum, knife, and shop air to clean around the distributor base and prevent engine contamination while pulling the distributor out. To get the engine at top dead center on compression, rotate it with a 15/16 socket and ratchet on the balancer bolt until the 0 mark is at the edge of the timing pointer. All right, that's at top dead center. But how do we know that it's on the compression stroke? Because we want this at top dead center on the compression stroke. Well, that's easy. If this is a running engine and the distributor was installed more or less right in the first place, the rotor should now be pointed towards the back of the car, roughly. If you're on the exhaust stroke, then this rotor is going to be pointed exactly opposite toward the front of the car. The cap is only supposed to go on one way. Someone has actually trimmed this housing to get rid of the index. That's not good. Another good reason to replace this distributor, I guess. There is an index here which goes in here. If the cap is on the right way, most of these caps do have a number 1 terminal labeled, and you'll see that at top dead center, that rotor is going to be a little bit counterclockwise of the number 1 terminal. That's important because that's how it should be when you put the new distributor back in. Now we have the engine positioned in a way that is good to remove the distributor. We've cleaned up as well as we can around the distributor. The next thing we're going to do is take this distributor hold down off. You can use a socket, but if you have a tool like this, it's more helpful because, especially when you're setting the timing, it's easier to turn this in and out without actually moving the distributor. I'm going to take that hold down out, and then we're going to look and see if there's any more debris in there. It looks okay. So our next step is to actually pull the distributor out. I'm going to set up some clean shop towel here to set it on, and we'll go ahead and do that. Sometimes these distributors are stuck in the hole. You never know what you're going to face, but if possible, when you lift it out, try to be smooth and gentle so as to avoid pulling up too much on that oil pump drive shaft. Okay, now you'll see as I pull this out, you'll see that rotor turn counterclockwise. When you go to put it in, it's going to turn clockwise. So you want to have the rotor positioned in such a way that it ends up where you want after it's in. Okay, let's pull up. All right. So that came out nice and easy. They don't all come out that easy. Ooh, that feels really tight too. Like the bearings are gone. I wouldn't be shocked if the problem with this distributor was more than just a TFI module. So now we're going to take our new distributor out of the box and we'll have a little look at it here. I'm going to take all of the packing materials off. Let's turn this. That feels nice and smooth. And it doesn't have any side play, which is the way it should be. Let's take the cap off. We can leave the rotor in there. And as you can see, maybe this one has the reference tab on it for the cap. So someone had cut that off of the factory distributor for who knows why. Everything seems about right. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to lubricate this O-ring seal here to make that easier to go in. We're going to do that with just a little bit of 2050 on our fingers. Like that. And then we're going to lubricate the gear with 2050. Now I'm doing it this way so you guys can see. Normally I do this over a disposal container, but it doesn't, you don't have to go crazy. You just need to get that oily, and it doesn't hurt if you put a little bit of lube on there too, and just wipe it around on the bottom of the gear. Now we've got that nice and lubed up, we'll go ahead and slide it in the car. We want to get the distributor oriented so the TFI module is somewhere around 45 degrees here. And then we're going to orient this rotor how we want it. Now an easy way to tell, this hold down screw in here, this is right about where the number 1 terminal is supposed to be. So if that is our sort of final position, then we know we need to be a little bit this way when we drop it in, because it's going to rotate back. So let's try that. Now it can be a little bit tricky here because it doesn't always want to engage the oil pump drive shaft properly. This is where there can be plenty of frustration. Okay, now we're in there, we're going in there. We're down, and we're probably right about right. So just giving it a little rotation like that is all that's really needed. You need to look down here and make sure that you're actually at your you're actually seated, and you know, we're going to set this up so we're sort of just past number 1. That's about where we are there. I think we can go ahead and lock this down. We're going to grab our hold down. Now this is the kind of thing when you have fat fingers, it's easy to screw up, drop, etc. Get that in there. And what I like to do is tighten this down. That way we've snugged it so we know it's good. Before we go to set it, I back this off just so it'll turn. We can leave it like that while we go ahead and put the wires and cap on. Now the cap just clips on, but remember there is a little reference notch here. And then we'll just clip these on. If you have trouble with this, you can always use a little screwdriver under here to help pry that up. Now, I can tell you, because it's got the reference notch, this cap is way less vague than the old one. So I think we're doing pretty good here with this. The firing order, now number 1 is usually marked on the cap, which it is here, 13726548. Okay, that is the 351W or Ford HO firing order. If you have a different Ford product, there is a different firing order that's used for non-HO 5 liter. You should check what your firing order is and make sure that you have the correct firing order. So let's go ahead and put the wires back on. Then 5. Now 6 and 5 fire in order together. So a little tip when you're looming these up, and this one's not done this way, and on a stalker it's not going to make any difference anyway really, but try not to loom them together. Loom them furthest apart from each other to try and reduce the chance of crossfire. And coil. Okay. Check they're all pressed down. What we're going to do is just back off our distributor hold down a little bit. There's no way we're perfect here. We're just going to back it off enough so that we can turn this distributor. And I like to have it so that the distributor turns with some drag so I can turn it, but that it's not going to jump on me. Just back off enough. There we go. So we can turn it, but it's not going to jump on me. And then don't forget our TFI wiring. Okay. Now, in order to set the timing, we also have to pull the spout. So let's pull that out. This disconnects the computer from the circuit so that the computer is not controlling timing, and that's how we're going to set it with the timing light. It's pretty difficult to actually capture the timing operation on film because it's a strobe light. So if the flashes don't coincide with the frame rate of the camera, you're not going to see it. But the idea is to use the timing light to set the initial timing with the spout connector removed to 10 degrees before top dead center. That is the factory setting. Even if you have a modified car, that's a good place to start. If you have a modified car with a chip tune, say from somebody like me, normally that's the way you set it, and the timing is added in the software rather than by turning the distributor. If you're doing a pure 10-minute tune-up, yes, you can set it to, say, 14 degrees before top dead center, and that usually results in a little bit more power, although it might require you to go up a grade or two in fuel. The timing light is a simple strobe affair. Some of them have no advanced circuit. This is a nice light that has, it's an Innova. I recommend getting a good light if you're going to do this very much. It's got a nice advanced circuit. The Mustang has enough marks on the balancer that you don't need an advanced circuit, but it's helpful in a lot of applications. Okay, so all you do is you clip your power leads for the timing light onto the battery. You clip your inductive pickup to the number 1 spark plug wire, and bear in mind the number 1 pickup usually has a reference arrow to indicate which side is the spark plug. If you put it on the wrong way around, you might not get a signal. On the Mustang, number 1 is usually labeled on the cap. Some wire sets have number 1 on them. I always look at the wire to make sure I'm really plugged into the number 1 cylinder, because if you time it against the wrong cylinder, your timing is going to be completely off. On a Ford, cylinders are numbered 1 through 4 on the passenger side and 5 through 8 on the driver's side. We're going to start the car and check our timing, and then adjust the distributor until it's 10 degrees, lock it down, recheck it, and put the spoke connector back in, and then we should be good to go. You time it on that edge of the timing pointer. If it wasn't rusty, you'd see it says time on there. So where that little edge is lined up with that little yellow mark, the little yellow mark is 0. 10, I've marked with a black Sharpie over a blue mark. And I like, when I mark these, to write the number on the front of the balancer as well, so I can more easily see what they are. So our objective is to get that edge of the timing pointer at the 10 degree mark. Now don't time it through the open eye on the bottom of the timing pointer. That is not the timing location, and that's a mistake that sometimes guys make. So I'm actually about 0. You can hear that engine smooth out a little bit as I get it up around 10. I don't recommend reaching in here while the engine running. If you do, you have to be extremely careful. Okay, so we think we're about right there. What we should do now is fire it back up, recheck it, then we're going to plug the spoke connector in, and we're going to check that it jumps up to around 20 degrees. Okay, that's about right on. If you reach into a place like this, you've got to be very, very careful if the engine is running. Saw a guy on the internet the other day who got his frickin' finger caught in the water pump pulley. That wasn't good. And bear in mind, the spoke connector has a key on it. Don't put this in the wrong way. Okay, you actually hear the engine tone change a little bit when that happens, and we should probably have around 20 degrees now, and it should dance a little bit. And we do. It's dancing around 20, 19, 18, 22, in there somewhere, which is just about right on.